Oh, Jody, here we go. And hello to the chat.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the Can-Am Connection with your host or co-host, Ryan Espy, and myself. Please, as always, do not forget to like and subscribe.
So we were just talking off air, and without mentioning names, um, we're going down the rabbit hole, right? We're going like IFA versus WAF, and we're looking at things. We're
Yeah.
checking things out, and we run across all the anti-doping lists in the past cases, and we have these weird scenarios where we have somebody who has tested positive for something, then we're granted a therapy. Well, they were basically cleared by one organization, that organization being WAF, and then it goes back and WADA, the actual testing organization, has upheld their suspension. So that's not documented anywhere. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed in this entire. Well, I had to search. I had to search to find results of all of these things, not just like the doping results I found by accident, but I'm looking for the list of WAF athletes versus the list of IFA, and I cannot find. I finally found the IFA results. They were not that hard to find,
Right.
but WAF hasn't been posted yet.
Well, good morning, everybody. Scott McGinnis, Ward Drake, Billy Berg, Ryan, my man B, Fox A Ball, Kevin Keegan. What's up, everybody? Here's the deal, man. Because this is such a situation where if you want to know why our sport's not in the Olympics, here it is right here. That's not the main reason why, but it's some of the reason why, because we can't get on the same page as far as just as simple stuff as doping. You know what I mean?
We can't get on the same page with doping. We can't get on the same page with weight classes. It's almost like, these things are put in place to prevent things from being a compromise. So I had a conversation with a gentleman just last night talking about the Canadian Nationals potentially, instead of just being like all one organization together supporting one world organization, why couldn't it be that, we could openly say you have a choice? Well, one of the major obstacles is the weight classes are different. So which ones do you use?
Yeah, what do you use? Do you use WAF or do you use IFA? What exactly do you use? You know what I mean? So I look at like IFA benefits me because I don't fucking want to cut the 220 anymore. Sorry for the language.
Yep.
But if I really, really wanted to, I could probably do it, but I just don't want to anymore. I have it in my brain that I don't want to do that no more. It's easier for me to put on muscle and strength rather than, to cut weight, because I'm walking around 231, 232 every morning. And I've been like that for the last year and a half. Right. So, give or take. But at the same time, if I really, really want to push the envelope and get the 220 to compete at a WAF Worlds, I could probably do it. But do I want to do it? You know what I mean? Yeah, weight classes is one thing,
Yeah, and you know what? As far as I can tell, we are supportive of the WAF classes. Yeah, we are. Yep, there it is. It's the WAF classes that we use at the Canadian Nationals. Yet we are kind of seen as supporting the IFA.
There's such a dysfunction here in the States that, at least you guys in Canada have the option of saying, hey, when I win my Canadian Nationals, I have two options. Do I A, go to WAF, or do I B, go to IFA? And depending on what title you won in what weight class, you can either stay there or you can say, oh, I got a cushion. I can bulk up and get stronger. Right? So, from that standpoint, at least you guys have that option. We, the United, keyword is United States, don't have that luxury, I guess you could say, because you got two different nationals, two separate nationals that leads you to two separate world championships. And that's just the way it is right now, you know?
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit of a side-by-side comparison.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned that Krasimir, we were talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to WAF and he wins a WAF title, which, we all thought, Krasimir's been on a bit of a slide lately. He is holding himself out as being a natural athlete. He goes to WAF and he wins. He doesn't have an easy time, but he wins. That says something in my mind. You mentioned Angrabayev.
He was in the same class.
Where did he place?
I don't know. I didn't look up the results or anything, but he was in the same class. And the reason why I know that is because a good friend of mine, Tim Talmadge, was also in that 220, or I guess if we're talking, world classes, 100 kilo class. And, so I'm like focusing on the 100 kilo class, because if in my brain, if I were to go to WAF, I'd probably be in the 220 class. I want to see who I'll be up against. And I'm looking for Tim Talmadge anyway. So I'm looking at Tim Talmadge and I'm all right, 100 kilo class, which, here's my thing. As far as IFA versus WAF, one reason why I like WAF is that you can sit there and go to the YouTube channel and they tell you what weight class they're on and who's up. Cool. IFA doesn't do that right now. Maybe down the road they will. But I'm thinking 100 kilo class, cool. I'm looking for Tim Talmadge. Then I'm thinking, there's Krasimir. Let me go ahead and watch and see what he does. Had a couple good wins. And next thing you know, I'm thinking, oh, shit, that's Angrabayev. Well, let me see what he got going on. So those guys were in the same class as my buddy Tim Talmadge, all in the 220 class. So I was like, wow, that's a loaded class,
So Marco might have some insight on this. So Angrabayev never competed in the right, just the left, he says. So Krasimir wins the right arm. We don't know who won the left arm, do we?
I do not.
But we do know that next year, WAF is in Kazakhstan.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. We do not know where the IFA is next year.
It's down to 3 countries. It'll be in a few weeks. They'll have their meeting, but they're supposed to announce it through social media come December 1st. Those 3 countries are Romania, Malaysia, and Finland.
Right. So that's a pretty big gap to narrow down. Like, we probably should have had that vote, or they should have. Matt Schultz says Angrabayev won the left. They should have probably had that narrowed down. Anyway, you can definitely make the argument. So let's just take the super heavyweight class, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Kamil Jablonski wins the super heavyweight class in IFA.
Right.
You compare him over to Georgy Svetkov. How would you put those two against each other? And if you look at the podium, you got Arif Artem on the in second place in WAF.
I think as of right now, the WAF is deeper, but I see the IFA catching up as far as class. And because, there are like 24 guys maybe in that 100 kilo class. I don't know if you got the same amount in IFA.
Yeah, there was a ton. And I'm thinking about the Masters classes. So Dean Bolt wins let's take the Masters men's left 105 plus.
Mm-hmm.
Dean Bolt wins that class. Dean's a great guy. But if you were to compare that class, let's take Masters men's left 2018 or 19. 2019, Cody Merritt wins it. I won it in 18. Cody got second place in 18. Third place was Oleg Malentiev, who is a perennial top 3 finisher. Russia's not involved anywhere right now. It's kind of it's a tough one to put comparisons on. Arm wrestling news. He got sick, couldn't get up. From England's Live. Tell us about that.
Well, okay, so what you said, 2018 with you, 2019 was Cody and then Dean Bolt, but at the same time, in 2018, 2019, IFA didn't exist.
That's true.
So, I mean, of course, all the talent's going to be with WAF at the time. But I say now, I say give it about 5 years. Are we having the same conversation? You know, I'm just being like, are we having
depends. It kind of depends. It's messy, which I think is pushing people away overall from either organization. I mean, I've been hearing this Olympics talk for a long, long time. And, you know, one side likes to use, what about the Olympics? We're working towards the Olympics. We're doing all this stuff. Well, I don't know that either organization is anywhere close to getting into the Olympics. So WAF has been aired on the Olympic channel on YouTube. Okay. That doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
Lots of things that get put on that channel.
Well, you know, again, at least the WAV has its own network. And what I mean by network, I don't want to sit there and upset people, but what I mean by network, is to say that you can go on YouTube and go in the World Arm Wrestling Federation because they have their own like channel, own YouTube channel and stuff, and they're gonna air live all the European matches, championships, and the World Championships. IFA is so still new, even though we're like 3 years in. It's so I don't count 2020. Everything is still so new that we haven't gotten there yet, and I think we will at some point. We just haven't gotten there yet. You got to start somewhere, and it's like an expansion team. Basically to build an expansion team, you get all the leftovers from the other teams that didn't want the players, and then get a couple good draft picks and kind of just go from there. And you pray and hope you do something, and that's where we're at right now with the IFA. I say in about 5 years it'll be strong. That's just my opinion, though.
So if you're thinking about putting your eggs in a basket right now, you're going to just stick with the IFA going forward?
I would say this. The reason why is that they ain't going to ban nobody. To sit there and tell me where I can and cannot compete, if you go compete in WAF, okay, fine. And then word gets out that you go compete in IFA, we're going to ban you. I'm like, well, first of all, how are you going to ban me? I never signed a contract to be exclusive with anybody. Okay. I'm my own person. How are you going to tell me where I can and can't compete at, especially while I never signed a contract? And I never failed a drug test. So how are you going to ban me for that? So, going from that standpoint, and you talk with Denise and Leonard, if I go pull WAF, they're like, oh, okay, have a good time. Good luck to you. I hope you do good. Yeah. Whereas WAF, okay, if you go there, you can't come back. What is that? Because now you're just hurting the actual puller, and everybody's like saying, okay, if that's how you feel and you're going to start banning referees and banning athletes, then screw it. I want to go somewhere where, I can compete and not feel like, the whole world is on my shoulders because I made a decision,
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting scenario you're talking about. So the one thing that keeps, if I'm looking for competition at the moment, WAF is the one. Okay. Yeah. That's the one. It just is. If I'm looking for an organization that is more trustworthy based on history, which in IFA there is none.
Right.
But based on history, when you get to a point where you cannot impact change anymore and you feel the need to start a completely new organization, and we've seen this once historically, then what are you left with? So IFA, by all rights, is probably the one to back going forward if you want to truly clean up everything in the sport. Now, Dan Woodley asked an interesting question. Well, there's a couple things here. Arm Wrestling News says they may have already agreed for disabled arm wrestling in Paralympics 2028. They may have already agreed, so we can't really report that yet.
All right.
Matt Schultz, man, that's quite a speculative comment. I don't know what the answer is to that. If you're going to WAF, you got to assume that most of those athletes are going to test clean.
Well, here, I go a step further for Matt's comment, and the comment was, I saw Gabby was competing at WAF. Did she clean up just long enough to compete in this contested event? So Gabby's got like 16,000 world championships in this organization.
Yeah.
I'm sure she knows that okay, I cannot be dirty, because when you go top 3, come here, come see us for a second. They're going to start testing and things like that. So I would imagine, if she is, and we don't know that, but if she is, I would imagine that she would, got her act together. But at the same time, it's like she's been here every single year. That is her number one goal, is to accumulate as many world titles as possible, because right now she's the GOAT, in my opinion, in arm wrestling, because look how many world titles, whether it be juniors, seniors, what have you,
And then Dan Woodley asked, who has stricter PED testing, and will that sway athletes to or away from an organization? There's a couple of ways to look at this. How do you quantify who is more strict? They both test for the same things. I believe WAF does more tests. However, I think politically they target some people, or they steer people away from certain people.
Ryan, you have a story just like that. Do you care to share that?
You talking about the Marcio story, where I was sitting at the testing table? So the top 3 in the world were myself, Andre Pushkar, and Marcio Barbosa. And the way they did the random test is there's 3 cards on the table. And one of those cards has a C on the back. The C stands for control. And if you drew that card, you went away and you got tested. So we sit down at the table, and one of the WAF officials leans over to me and says, don't pick the one in the middle. We're trying to get Barbosa. And so, of course, I don't pick the one in the middle. Then Pushkar flips over the one in the middle. He doesn't speak English. So he ended up going away and getting tested. Marcio didn't get tested. But that's a very dirty kind of a thing, a way to do that. And when they tested Cody, they pulled him out of the lineup at weigh-ins.
At weigh-ins?
At weigh-ins. Cody Merritt did not have a result when he got tested. He had not competed yet. They pulled him out of the lineup at the weigh-ins.
How do you get pulled out of a lineup where you haven't competed yet? That's dirty to me, because I look at it like this. I think, and I don't know if it's a money thing or what, but I'm thinking if you go to IFA Worlds, WAF Worlds, you finish top 3, you should be getting tested no matter what, because who the heck wants to, go do PEDs to take 9th? No one's doing that, right?
Right.
No one cares.
Now, considering what I've just told you and what we know to be true, is it outside the realm of possibilities that because WAF is now competing with the IFA, they would let some of the people that are kind of the poster children, we'll say, of these organizations get away with some things, or simply avoid testing those people? Now, where am I going with this? Well, you have some pretty high-level athletes that are placing in the top. Are you going to get that kind of, negative publicity on an organization by having somebody that's won multiple world titles potentially get popped for something? I think you avoid it.
Here's the thing, man. First of all, if you're an athlete and you're going to compete at the top from an amateur standpoint, and we'll use, because right now the world championships is our Olympics. That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Right. No, never mind. Every 4 years we're going to do all this, because come on, you're going to have people that juice whatever, but the world championships is our version of the Olympics, right? Okay, so let's just get that out the way. That's just my opinion. So you got that, right? And number 2, if you want our sport to not look so janky, then you got to be honest with yourself and do the right thing. Not just because this person's your poster boy for this organization, or that's your poster boy for that organization, or because he's more favorable, whatever the case may be, because you're not doing yourself any, justice. There's a reason why we split, right? You get Leonard Harkless, who didn't get voted out. They just kicked him out. So there's right there. Then you start, banning referees and stuff. And it's like going, what are you guys doing? Then, you got, I forgot what year it was. I don't know if it's 2015. I can't remember the year. But USA got awarded the Worlds, and then it got snatched from us.
Hey, listen, some people are also trying to gain favor with certain people, right? So there is a scenario here where a promoter wanted somebody at their event, but they were concerned because the person was currently serving a suspension for doping. That promoter talked to somebody in an organization, and that organization made that record of anti-doping violation disappear. Gone. It happens. So I guess the question is, in all of the argument of IFA versus WAF, all of this weird backdoor kind of Wild West stuff that I have talked about is one organization. It's not both. There's one where that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back on that interview that we did with Murcha way back in the day, they talked about, or Murcha talked about, well, if we don't like the Constitution, we just change the Constitution. Sometimes they do it in a different order, though. Like it was written in there that they do not have paid positions in WAF. Well, he admitted there's several paid positions in WAF. People are generating income off of WAF. So, I'd like to, I heard the appeal come out that, we all need to be a family. We all need to be united again. Well, yeah, maybe we do, but the organization is dirty. It just is. I mean, when you don't feel like you can make a change over there anymore, what are you left with?
Well, before we go to High Jim's comment, I do want to say this, and I don't know if we're going to put a bow tie on it. We can still talk about it, but you were part of the last WAF split, right?
I was around, but I was just starting in the sport.
Right. So how long did those two, because you had the World Arm Wrestling Federation against the World Arm Sport Federation, which is still WAF, still has the same acronym, but it was still two different ones. And how long did that other one last? Like 3-4 years before they went right back to the,
Man, I think they went into the 2000s. It might have been 5 or 6 years.
Right.
Started in 1998 when they tried, and it was the same scenario. Well, the World Championship got pulled from Canada, and then we ended up holding the Worlds under a different banner.
Right.
But
that's was that the Thunder Bay one?
Thunder Bay.
Okay.
And there was 2 World Championships that year. And one of them was much larger than the other.
Yeah.
And the one that survived and became what WAF is today was the one that started out as the small little World Championship in Thunder Bay. So history would show us maybe this is just happening all over again.
And like I said, this is, for you wrestlers out there, wrestling fans, it's WCW versus WWE. It's kind of like, okay, like you said, you and Cody in the supers in the Masters versus, Dean Bolt in the supers and Masters in IFA. It's kind of like, all right, who was the champion? Hogan, Flair, or Nick Bockwinkel? What the hell are we talking about? So it's kind of like that, right? We can get back to that in a second, but I'm reading this comment. You want to highlight the High Jim comment for a second, Ryan? Yeah.
It's falling apart, man.
Damn, Michael had to drop out of his match versus Prudnik because he injured his bicep tendon. Okay. And like I said, I worked a long shift last night. I woke up, and I'm just seeing this now for the first time. And if this is true, what the hell is going on? And I'm saying that we just got through talking about, Jerry Cadera had to drop out. I don't know if he was bench pressing, he jacked his shoulder up or whatever, getting ready for Gasparini. Now Michael injures, getting ready for Prudnik. I'm like going, is it a training thing? What are we doing here?
I don't know what's happening, man. Like, there's Michael's a different athlete, but the rules are if you're going to stay that lean all the time, you don't have the protective tissue around all your muscles and everything that would, allow you to train hard like that. So Michael's a different guy, but the general public, I mean, you even see bodybuilders that do not look as good as Michael Todd does year round. They get soft. They just do. They bulk up. Michael is staying at a body fat level that is probably single digit now.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that is complementary to strength training.
Well, Michael's always said he wants to feel like an athlete, perform as an athlete. Totally get that. Well, I mean, we've seen the 300-pound version of Michael Todd, which is not a good thing. He even tells you that. I mean, bloated in the face. That year he pulled Devin at arm wars and at the Trafford Center, right? That was just, breathing hard and stuff. And when you compete at a level like that, conditioning is number one, right? For a while he was the guy in the big dogs, and now he realized that, okay, I'm getting older. I don't need to be carrying all this weight. I'm going to do it. I want to be an athlete. I mean, even Devin's like, you know what? I tried it. I got nothing for Levon. I'm going to go ahead and cut and come down a weight class. Sucks for us heavyweights, but still, they're going to come down a weight class. So, what you have is that I'm excited because now when Devin and Michael come down to those weight classes, it offers different matchups we thought we'd never see, and now all of a sudden now we got injuries. So, yes, Dave Chafee steps in. I'm going to pull, Hermes. And as I was telling Uncle John, I was telling Ryan Bone on the show I had, and I was like, look, if for some reason Dave Chafee happens to beat Gasparini, now what do we do? Because now here we are again. It's Levon. He's looking. Who's on deck? Oh, crap. Vitaly loses. All right. At least I still got Jerry and Gasparini. Oh, Jerry's out. Crap. And let's be honest. I think the world wants to see Jerry versus Levon rather than Hermes versus Levon. That's just my opinion. But now we won't get that. We don't know when Jerry's coming back. We don't know how long he's out for. If Hermes wins, fine. At least, one of the two people that was going to fight Levon will see that. But if for some reason Dave wins, oh, my God, here we go. Now what,
Well, Rush Schrader, I was thinking that exact same thing. You might see Devin take it, but, I mean, who knows? We saw the guys training together. Maybe Devin thinks he has them. Who knows?
When Devin trains and goes across seas and do these practices, y'all do realize that he's keeping data. You know that, right? So for him to do that, and he's pulling, those guys, and he knows that down the road is going to be a match. He knows that, that's why he does that. I mean, he likes to arm wrestle, obviously, but he does that.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a list of guys to step in to reshuffle these matches. I think Dave does beat Gasparini, but who knows, man? Like the explosiveness of Gasparini, maybe we haven't seen the best of it. Maybe not.
Well, if anybody who watched my show with Ryan last week, my thing was this: when you're Hermes and you're training for somebody like Jerry, and he has a flop wrist, and you're training for that particular opponent, that particular move, and all of a sudden, curveball. Now you got Chafee. Whole different scenario style of pulling, and you got to go, okay, now I got what, 3 weeks now, 4 weeks to prepare for this,
Well, and he also, I mean, Dave kind of was training for a similar, I won't say that, well, Letton is not similar to Gasparini, but the way they move is a little bit similar. So Chafee, essentially could be already prepared for this match.
Well, and before we get to Russell's other comments, I'll say this: if Dave can squeak out a press on that long liver of Vitaly, what can he do against Hermes? Hermes doesn't have a long arm.
That's true.
So if Dave, was he 6'2", 6'3", or whatever, and he happens to get behind that, Man, damn, that might go down a little bit easier than Vitali's did. Vitali did go down. Just saying.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. So let's go back just a little bit to this WAF IFA thing.
Yeah.
Having seen a little bit of each production, who do you think did it better?
Before I get beat up, because I'm an IFA guy, I'm going to say WAF because, yeah, they got more athletes for one. Okay. Two, unless you watch the live feed that day, you cannot look up anything from IFA, right? Or unless somebody you knew had their YouTube channel, had their camera and shooting with the YouTube, you can't look up anything. Like right now, I can go back and go, oh, okay, I can look up the 10 kilo class or the 100 kilo class and watch every match if I wanted to, because you know where to find it. You can't find it with IFA right now. I mean, as of right now, 9:33 Pacific Standard Time, October 24th, that question comes to me. I'm going to just say right now, I'm going to say WAF. At least I can go back and see what weight class am I looking at. You can't do that with IFA, not right now anyway.
That's something they definitely need to improve. And the fact that they still haven't picked the location kind of bugs me a bit, because I'm trying to plan out my next year. Now,
well, I think what WAF is that they do theirs like 3 years in advance. Like they got the next 3 years already planned out. And I know North America is not one of them. So
no, it's not. But they had some interesting stuff. And the other thing was, did you see the hardware they handed out at the two different organizations? Like, gone are the days of just getting a medal at WAF championships, it seems.
I saw what Gabby had, and I was like, damn,
like a giant trophy and with your medal. Even when I was in Turkey in 2018, before the split, they gave away a trophy and a medal for first place in the Masters. Actually, trophies first, second, third.
Mm-hmm.
They did the same thing in the super or the senior class, but there was also a belt. So if you won a gold medal in the senior class, you got a medal, a trophy, and a belt.
And again, we're talking about a league or organization that's already been established against a league that's 3 years in. Who knows? Maybe down the road they'll do something like that. I don't know, but I'm thinking, hey, what's up, Stevie Diamond? But I think, just give it, like I said, in a 5-year period between 5 years from now, let's just see what happens then, because, we'll see. Because right now, I'm only speaking for United States. We have a good idea. We, as an IFA, we have a good idea where nationals will be next year. Unified nationals to go to WAF, I have no idea.
So Dan Woodley, the answer is 90 kilos that Marco jumped in there and said. And the question was, what weight class was Gabby? And she looked way bigger than her opponents. People carry it differently. You got to remember that Gabby is not very tall.
She's like 5'1", isn't she? Like 5'1", 5'2"?
Yeah. So the composition of her is going to be different from somebody that's, nearly 6 feet tall.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. Where you're going this way, and not so much, that way. Because Gabby's stout and strong, but like I said, all of 5'1", 5'2", So if you noticed her, she has a riser in every match.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's, vertically challenged.
Yep. Yes. So what else we got to talk about? Are we putting this thing to bed? And let me ask you, Jody, right now on the spot, next year, you have an all expense paid trip to go to IFA or WAF. Where are you going?
IFA.
Okay, good.
What about you?
I think I'm going to test IFA next year.
And nothing against WAF, but if for some reason Finland is the choice, and we don't know what the hell's going on with Russia and Ukraine and stuff, I think Kazakhstan's a little bit too close to that.
I was just thinking the same thing.
A little bit too close,
if IFA picks Malaysia, it's a much easier choice for me. I'll go to Malaysia.
Right. Just it's just weird. There was a comment I think Russ made about Michael said he was going to be at King of the Table 6.
Well, I mean, Michael can say that, But I mean, if you're nursing an injury, who knows what will happen at King of the Table 6?
It was almost, do you remember the year? Was it 2016, maybe 2017, I guess? And it was Michael was getting ready to go to Nemiroff, right? And he got the bench press and stuff, and he blew his pec doing that. I'm like going, dude. And he was like weeks away from going to, we all know Nemiroff in those days were in November. So I'm like, bro, why are you training like that knowing you got Nemiroff? Because I was thinking that version of Michael Todd would have won the whole thing. You know, because I always cheer when it comes to Nemiroff, you always hope you cheer for anybody from North America because that's as close as we're going to get. You know, whether if you were to go or Devin or whoever, then some of our guys go, that's the one you want to win, you know?
That's a big event. Yeah. And I remember that. And you got to ask yourself if you've pushed yourself to the point where, you know, most of these injuries are not freak occurrences. They don't just happen. They're like something there's indicators leading up to that injury normally where you've tweaked something or you've weakened something to a certain point. And I guess it might even be a little bit better that it happens before you get on that airplane than when you're in that tournament. Because if you're going to hurt it on a bench press, chances are you're going to hurt it during the event.
Yeah, it's just I'm just bummed out because I was really, really excited to see this version of Michael Todd against a Prutnik. You know, I was really excited.
What was the date for that event?
I think it was this November 19th.
So it's not that far. It's only a few weeks away.
Right. It was the East versus West.
Yeah.
So does that mean he won't be ready for and you know when Russ said he'll be at King of the Table 6, well, guess what? You do realize that December 10th he has a match with John Brzezinski.
Oh man. Yeah. So
does that throw a monkey wrench in that event, you know? So let's ask ourselves, and maybe I should get on the phone and ask Michael after the show and go, bro, you gonna be ready for Brzezinski on December 10th or what? Because if that's not the case, he can't compete, then the main event card will be Cody Merritt versus Corey West.
Russ has said it.
Damn it. You know?
Yeah.
I'm bummed out. So now that puts the real pressure on Corey. Corey, you're the main event now against, you know, Cody Merritt left hand. And I know for a fact my co-host in this show, Mr. Ryan Espy, has a valid interest in that match.
Yeah. I also have been watching very closely the left-handed arm wrestling that Austin Jaggers has been doing with Michael Todd. They got together at some expo or something and they were pulling a little bit left-handed.
Yes.
And it made me, you take what you want. It's practice. But I mean, Michael was giving him a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Well, you know, and like I said, how far are we away from your TAL number 3, Ryan?
1 month.
That's the 26th, yes?
Yep.
Okay, so 26, you know, and Austin Jaggers is like, you know, what a band pulling pickup trucks and shit and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, which is, you know, that's pretty cool to do, you know, but it's like, come on, man, you know, like Ryan's kind of quiet, you know, and he's doing his thing. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, maybe Ryan doesn't post his stuff on YouTube like he used to, you know, who knows? Doesn't mean he's not training though, you know.
Doesn't mean I'm not training. So we'll see.
Ooh, what's this one? Dan Willie said. John said he could not make the auto open because of his match with Michael Todd. Who knows? So you're saying he might be open? So
the Ottawa Open's a good tournament, but I don't know if there's any big super matches there or if John would go to that one. It's a good event though.
Or he might just show his face at the Brzezinski Cup, whatever.
Yep.
November 12th, by the way, Midvale, Utah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Devin invited him, it says.
It's up in the air. It's bummed out because you see all this these build-up matches thinking, oh man, we're only X amount of weeks away, and all of a sudden injury. Damn, Jerry. Fuck. Okay. Dave kicks in, cool. And then Michael Todd can't go. I was like, damn, now what? Does Devin step in? Okay. Because now it's like we better hurry up because now we got a hole in the boat. We got to patch that thing up and keep the thing going,
Yeah, and somebody will step up. There'll always be something. Yeah.
I'm
So yeah,
bummed out, dude. I'm bummed
Arm
out.
Sport Videos says Eric has no super matches at the Ottawa Open. That's what I thought I remembered. So it's actually Eric Roussen's event. So good old traditional tournament arm wrestling. Nice to see.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
So Ryan SB will be at IFA next year. All right. Like I said, December 1st, we'll know exactly.
That is the plan. Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad. Yeah. Like I said, nothing against WAF. It's just, there's there are things that they do right now that I still like. Like I said, I can look up when I get off that show with you, I can go and look up WAF Worlds this year and look up and see every single match. Whereas you couldn't do that.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Jody. On the IFA website right now, I am looking at the results of the IFA World Championships. On the WAF website, I can't find those yet.
See, you get the results, but not the video, and the other one has the video, but not the results. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. And the surprising thing is I look through these results, right? There's some really good arm wrestlers that did not place top 3 in these events. So that tells me that while the level of competition might not be like right on par with WAF, it's not bad.
Right. And to answer a question from Russ Schrader, first and foremost, Robin Chandler, good morning. How are you? Russ asked me, Jody, what is your next event? Well, my next event will be December 10th, Washington State Championships. I will be there pulling the tournament. I'll be doing a lot. Like, that's a big day for me. First of all, I'm pulling your countryman, Ryan, Mr. Clayton Faulkner, and there's some, I guess you can say, added fuel to that fire. So I'll be pulling him, I don't want to get too far into it.
Yeah.
I'll be competing against him, pulling the tournament. Then I'll be reffing the tournament, and then I'll be side by side with Uncle John as him and I will be doing the commentary for the super matches that will be announced real soon. That's Tim Talmadge's event. He was just at WAF Worlds in Turkey, so he's not home yet. But as soon as he touched down, then him and I will talk Turkey. We can get this thing out. Yeah. So love you, Clayton Faulkner, but I got some. You got a receipt coming from me. So
I can't wait to see it. Now,
yeah.
You get your passport yet?
I'm waiting. Why does it take so long to get it?
I don't know.
I mean, I got everything.
That's your government thing.
So here's the thing. For what our government, I sent everything in. And this is like late September. So I'm kind of twiddling my thumbs. I'm thinking, okay, because first they're going to send me back, or I should get my passport first. Then after that, they're going to send me back my original birth certificate. So I'm kind of going, I'm just waiting right now. I'm just waiting.
Get it done. Get it done. Get up here.
Because when it is done, then I will be making a trip up there. If that means Jeff Frank has to say, hey, Jody, I got something for you for TAL4. Okay. But, we'll see what happens. But my main goal for next year, I only got 2 things solidified in ink next year. That is, of course, my tournament June 10th, the LOD Foundation, but I'll be, reffing. I will not be participating. So a tournament my wife and I run. And then, of course, September 9th with Jordan Seal. That's all I have in ink. I mean, I got so much going on because I'm waiting to hear about other promoters. Me and Russ Schrader been talking back and forth, who's in the chat right now, him and I. And it's like, what is going on? What is going on with this site, man?
I blocked that user.
These weirdos, man.
Yeah.
But Russ Schrader and I have been talking back and forth about a possible match between him and I. And we're just waiting on that particular promoter to say yay or nay, or actually to set a date. There's that one. I still, there could be a possibly, knock on wood, fingers crossed, you might see me at an Arm Wars. I guess the next one is late March. There's that one. but I still want to put my hat in the IFA Worlds. But for me to get there, I have to go through the national route. So I got to do that. So I got a lot of stuff, up in the air I want to do. So.
Right on. Well, buddy, you ready to call her quits on this one today?
Yeah, I mean, it's a Monday morning. I'm fired up. I might go for a walk today just to try to, and put in some earbuds and listen to some podcasts as I walk and try to shed some of this weight off. Not that I'm overweight, but 231 is 231, so
231.
Yeah. So there you go.
Right on.
Everybody, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And Jody, hang around for a sec after I end the broadcast, but I'll see everyone next week.
Sounds good. Next Monday, everybody.